Hey Mustangs, it's Miss Flores here in her backyard, coming to you, showing you this project that I'm working on. One of your drawing prompts was draw how you feel about your new normal. And so I have this sketch. As you can see, I've got like the face mask on and the Zoom video screen behind me. And then I've got some butterflies, which are going to be like the hope um, that prevails through all of this craziness. So, as you can see, I started the eyes. I did the left eye in completeness. I kind of watched that video I posted about realistic eyes, do's and don'ts. She really was all about like the darks. And so I took some of those techniques and I'm going to show you them now. As you can see, I've started a basic outline. I made the eyes really big on purpose. I kind of oversized them a little bit just because they're a main focal point of my project. And so I have this, and I did it with a regular old pencil. And then I'm going to take my ebony pencil and really start shading and make things dark. In the other video, the lady used a ton of different materials, and as we all know, those materials might not be available to everybody. So I would you can do this with a regular pencil. If you have colored pencils, one thing that I did take away from her video is using that black for the darks of the eyes. And so this is the only black Prismacolor I have at home, thanks to you all using them here at school. And so I'm going to use that in my eye. I did here. I used it in the eye, the pupil. I even used it in the eyebrows, all sorts of different places. So here we go. I did use my eyes as a resource. That's the nice part. You all have phones and they have video and camera, so you can just use that and zoom in on your different facial features. One thing she said was to just go dark immediately. I might caution against that just because we're still practicing and learning. But because we're practicing, you can always do an eye really dark and try. I still like to have a little variation within my eye. So I go in with my ebony pencil first and kind of create that. As you can see, I'm leaving certain spots white because that's where the reflection is. That's really important to give your eye life, right? Because while we go through all of this craziness, we are still living and enjoying and appreciating maybe things that we took for granted before, like our teachers, and learning and the opportunity to be able to learn every day and go to school. Just saying, I might miss y'all a little bit, even when you act like crazy children, the ones I love in the art room. So putting in those darks, remembering that where it's white, there's actually still a ton of shadows. One thing also that the lady in the video used that I found to be interesting was the use of tissue versus the tortillons or whatever you want to call them. I find with the tissue, it picks up a lot. So if you start dark and you're like, oh, I don't like it, like the tissue picks up a lot of it. You just have to be really like more controlled. But if you look at this eye, I've got some darks, correct? But not like this. And you can see that the darks are really important in portraits and facial features to make them really stand out. I'm throwing in some eyebrows here. The first layer, I'll come in with that dark colored pencil later. Another thing that's really important is making sure your pencil is sharp when you're doing these very fine things, like say maybe your eyelashes or the eyebrows or that really dark line, because if y'all know, I have pretty deep set eyes. So this is really a severe dark. So I'm gonna come in with that colored pencil. And I'm still going to blend it out just like I would with my ebony pencil or my graphite pencil. It's important that you make it part of your picture. I started trying this with like a carbon, almost like a charcoal pencil, and that was a no-go. So I did use an eraser and kind of take that off that left eye. So now, as you can see, even though it's tiny, it works. And I'm still blending it out. In here, however, it is just going to be a nice, dark, solid pupil. Using that pressure. Okay, that really brought that eye out a lot more than it did with just the ebony pencil. And I wasn't pressing super, super dark, but there's definitely more life when you add those darks. You know how I am. Go dark or go home, right? Draw big or go home. Like, be bold about it. And that's one thing in the video I liked is she's like, if it's dark, like, make it dark. Don't be afraid about it. And, you know, I won't be hanging these on the walls anytime soon. So if you make a mistake, big deal, you know? Do keep what you're working on. I did color that in with my colored pencil. Please keep what you're working on. As of right now, I don't need you to email it to me all the time. You can if you're proud of it or if you really want me to check it out. A couple of my students have already done that, and I'm very impressed that they are working so hard when really I'm not asking you to. It's not required of you. Right now, you're really focusing on your core subjects. Oh, and my dog is concerned about this. Sorry. Hi, Shiner. Everybody, say hi to Shiner. Okay, sorry. He bumped my elbow. Anyways, he wants me to play ball all day, every day. He thinks that this coronavirus is the best thing ever because I'm home every day. Oops, sorry. I'm going to make that nice dark line. And I am not going to do my eyelashes because it needs to be sharper. But the idea is there. This corner is pretty dark. So I'm going to add that shadow in. And it actually does extend out up into that eyebrow. And then you gotta have this little corner, right? Then there's that weird, like, fine lid line that is lightly highlighted. At least on my screen it is. And then I would go back in super lightly and begin to make those shadows and highlights. And you're really using a light touch. And I've got some work to do, but you get the basic idea, right? Coming back in and blending into that black colored pencil. And there is definitely a light on both of my lids. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot the eyebrows too. One thing she said, which was funny, was like not to make them perfect. Make them look more like maybe there's a long stray one in there. So we'll throw those in. Nothing too crazy. Although now we're in charge of taking care of all our eyebrow plucking, right? It's a brave new world, y'all. That is the title of an amazing book that you should probably read when you're a little older. So, there's the eyes. I will finish up the eyelashes and the shading underneath. And one thing I will show you before we go is like, say, you know how we always do this? Yeah. Down here, right? And we all look all tired. If you use that Kleenex, used it a little too much, and then you kind of erase those lines. That's what I did over here. It doesn't make it necessarily look so liney, if that's a word. We'll make it a word today. We don't want liney underneath our eyes. Maybe using the side of your ebony pencil, hint, hint, will give it a shadow without the lines. And I need it to be a little bit darker because the bridge of my nose is there. As you can see, I started this part of my forehead, and I will check back in with you all when I have some more done. So let me know what you think. It's not perfect, but you know, it's honest. I love you all, and I can't wait to hear what you think and see your versions of your realistic eyes this week and next. All right, this is Miss Flores signing out.